Krishna Chaitanya Namne Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to session number 19. So today we are having this wonderful discussion on chapter 2 and I welcome all of you here on Open Talk as well as Google Meet. Thank you so much Himanshu for joining today, and it's been quite some time that we have interacted, so it's very nice to see you here. Wonderful, thank you so much for joining. So today we are having this some very important shlokas from chapter 2, and probably some of you must have already heard some of these shlokas, and it will be really intriguing to know the meaning of these wonderful sessions and wonderful shlokas. Great. So I dedicate this session to my beloved spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So this is the flow of the different sections that we have discussed in chapter 2. We have discussed Arjuna's further doubts and surrender to Krishna from verse number 1 to 10. From verse number 2.11 to 2.30, Jnana Yoga, we have understood the soul aspect. What is the soul and our true identity? That's wonderful, that's Jnana Yoga. And section 3, that is from 2.31 to 2.38, Krishna has explained Karma Kanda. He has told that how we need to perform activities, and by performing such activities, Arjuna, you will get the heavenly planets. So these are certain explanations that we understood. So in this section now, that is section number 4, that is from 2.39 to 2.53. So we have discussed some very important shloka in the previous class, session number 18, that how from Karma Kanda we have moved to Karma Yoga. We understood a little bit about Karma Yoga and how we need to be focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi. So only people who are enjoying Bhoga and Aishwarya, those who are fully engrossed in sense pleasure, they cannot be focused in the duties that they are doing. So they cannot be fixed on the goals. So Bhoga and Aishwarya takes away our focus from our goals. So Krishna is now further continuing to explain to Arjuna what is going to happen by performing Karma Yoga. Sometimes it is also called as Buddhi Yoga. So let's begin and let's continue from 2.45. So, Dev, you can unmute yourself and please repeat this shloka. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto Niryogakshema Atmavan. Let's do that once again. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto Niryogakshema Atmavan. Wonderful. Please repeat the translation. The Vedas mainly deal with the subject of three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjuna, be transcendental to all of them, be free from all dualities, and from all anxieties, for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Wonderful, thank you. Hare Krishna. So Krishna is very beautifully explaining to Arjuna Traigunyo Vishaya Veda. Traigunya. Three. Tri means three. So somehow even in the English we call it as three. In Sanskrit also three means Tri is also equals to Three. So three. So Traigunya. So there are three gunas. This whole material nature or all the matter that we see in this material world actually comes from something called as Mahat Tattva. What is it called? It is called Mahat Tattva. So at the beginning of the creation, the sum total of all the matter, when I say matter, it includes earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. All these is mixed together. It's all one. It is a sum total of all these is called Mahat Tattva. So when Lord Vishnu, he glances on this Mahat Tattva, his divine glance actually agitates this Mahat Tattva. And when this Mahat Tattva gets agitated, this sum total of matter, then time is created. Time starts at this point when Lord Vishnu glances at the Mahat Tattva. That's the beginning of time. And once time comes into effect, then there is a creation of Traigunya, three gunas. What are those three gunas? Sattva guna, Rajo guna and Tamo guna. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So, all the matter that you see around you is actually nothing but these three gunas. Anything that you take is actually the mixture of these three gunas. These three gunas are the ones which actually creates the variety in the world. These three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, are the basic foundation blocks of matter. Just like you must have studied in science, there are three colors, the basic colors, the RGB. Sometimes it's called red, blue and yellow. So red, blue, green sometimes. So basically there are three colors. So when you mix these three basic colors, it creates multiple colors. So 3 into 3 gives to 9, 9 into 9 gives to 81, 81 into 81 gives to so many huge numbers of combinations. So when these three gunas, they mix with each other, sattva, rajas and tamas, it gives rise to varieties of living entities and varieties of things that we see in this material world. So you take us, we are also a combination of these three gunas. So it differs from person to person to what ratio this sattva, rajas and tamas actually is there in a person. Some people have sattva more, rajas and tamas little. Some people are very rajasic, in them sattva and tamas is less. Sometimes tamas is so much in a person, there is sattva and rajas less. So based on the combination and the ratio of these three gunas, a person's behavior is decided. A person's inclination is decided. And the same thing applies to plants also. Even plants can be classified into sattva, rajas and tamas. There are sattvic plants. Very nice sweet fruits they give, like mango and banana and all these. These are all sattvic plants. There are some plants which give bitter fruits. They give fruits but bitter fruits. And there are some tamasic plants which gives you poisonous fruits. You cannot eat them. So they are tamasic in nature. Similarly, animals. There are sattvic animals. Like cow, actually is a sattvic animal. When you see this monkey is a rajasic animal. When you see, there is tamasic also. There are a lot of tamasic. For example, there is, just give me a minute, I'll just admit. So, there are a lot of tamasic animals also. This jaguar, sometimes these foxes, they all come into tamasic animals. So there are sattvic animals, rajasic animals and tamasic animals. Similarly, food also is sattvic ahara, rajasic ahara and tamasic ahara. So in the later section, in the 18th chapter, we are definitely going to understand more about what is food. How do we take food? What are the characteristics of the food that we will understand in the later chapters? It's very important. But for now, Krishna is saying here in this 45th verse that Traigunyo, these three gunas is nothing but matter. All the matter that we see around us is nothing but these three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. When this cloth, you see this cloth is a combination of what? It's threads. So you take the small strands of threads and you weave them horizontally and vertically, and when you keep weaving them, the threads horizontally and vertically, that is what makes this whole cloth, right? We don't see the individual threads, we only see the cloth. So similarly, when we see this nature, when we see everything around us in this world, we actually don't see these three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. What we see is all varieties, all different colors. Right now I am wearing a white cloth, it's all plain. But when I wear a colored cloth, you are all wearing now colored clothes. So colored cloth is a combination of these three gunas and it creates varieties just like the three basic colors RGB. You mix these three colors and these basic three colors will create so many unlimited colors. So similarly, these three gunas will create lot of these varieties in this material world. So now Krishna is saying, oh Arjuna, please, 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 get out of these three gunas. It is so important. You don't have to be bound by these three gunas. Krishna is saying, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavajuna, Nistraigunya. You have to rise above these three gunas. Tell me one thing, Lasya, if you are bound by an iron chain, that is good for you, or if you are bound by a copper chain, that is good for you, or if you are bound with a gold chain, that is good. So Lasya, what do you think? Which is better? If you are bound with iron chain is good, copper chain is good, or gold chain is good? Waiting for your answer. Really? Okay, so Lasya says that she feels very good if she is bound with a gold chain. Wonderful. So I want to ask Deepal ma'am also is here today with us. So Deepal Mataji, what do you think? If you are bound with iron chain is good for you, or copper chain, or a gold chain? You want to be bound with which chain? Okay, I just want to repeat this very simple. If you are bound by an iron chain, that is good for you, you feel better. Or someone comes and binds you with a copper chain, you feel good. Or if you are bound with a gold chain, that is good for you. What do you feel happy? When do you feel happy? Okay, so Deepan Mataji is saying that she is also opting for gold, that if she is bound with gold chain, then she'll be very happy. Thank you so much, wonderful. So let's see who else is there. Okay, I want to ask now Vinodji, because generally, women, if I ask, they will like gold only. So let's ask some men also. So Vinodji, what do you think? Which chain would you like to be bound with? An iron chain, a copper chain, or a gold chain? Okay, looks like there is an audio problem. Okay, let me ask Chaitanya. Chaitanya, if you were given a chance to be bound with an iron chain, copper chain, or a gold chain, which one would you prefer?
I would go with copper chain because I see that copper has more benefits towards our health.
Okay, so he's using his scientific bent of mind and he's saying that, okay, so copper has a lot of advantages on the body, so he wants to go with copper. Wonderful, very nice. So thank you so much, Chaitanya. So guys on the open talk, you can also leave your comments. Dev, what is your inclination, by the way?
I would say, what if we can remove the chain?
What if we?
No chain only, like remove all the chain.
Now there you go, my boy. So that is exactly the right answer. I mean, whether you're bound with a gold chain or you're bound with a copper chain or an iron chain, you're still bound. The real interest should be, how do I get rid of this chains? So, iron chain is tamas. The copper chain is rajas. And the gold chain is sattva. So, Krishna is saying here, don't get bound by even sattva guna, don't get bound by rajoguna, neither you should get bound by tamoguna. None of these three gunas should actually bind you. So that is intelligence. So many people, they think that, okay, let me do good things and let me be here in this material world. Let me enjoy the good result of my good activities. But the thing is, you still have to come here to this material world. So that is sattva guna. Many demigods, devatas, they are all very sattvic in nature, extremely sattvic. We cannot even compare ourselves to them. But still they are bound. So Krishna is saying, you should not be bound. Why they are bound? Because they are bound by janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. So Krishna is saying, you have to get rid of this cycle. Don't get bound by even sattva guna. So nistrai kunyo bhava Arjuna. Nirdvandvo nitya sattvasto. So don't get caught up by this duality of good, bad, happiness, pain, heat, cold, happiness, distress. So these are the dualities of this world, and these dualities are actually created by three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. Every day these three gunas are actually impacting on us. We just don't know. Tell me one thing, is gravity working on us right now? How many of you think that gravity is working on you? I'm sure all of you will agree. Gravity is right now working on all of us, each one of us. But do we see gravity? No. Yes, we don't see. What about time? Is time affecting us right now at this moment? Yes, exactly. Time is having its effect right now on us. And that's why every moment we are growing old. So time is affecting. So, like gravity, like time, these three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, are also having an effect on us every single day. When you wake up in the morning, you are so fresh, you are getting so wonderful thoughts, your mind is clear. Why? Because early morning, it is predominantly Sattva Guna. Morning time is predominantly Sattva Guna, and that is why most of the prayers are done in the morning time, so that it gives you the good feeling and you are focused while praying, because morning it is Sattva Guna. But you see, as day progresses, you get ready in the morning, you have a breakfast, then you start running to the schools and colleges and offices, so Rajoguna takes place. Rajoguna basically puts you into action. Rajoguna means, Rajas means action, to perform activities. So that is why in the afternoon time, people are so active, doing so many activities, going to offices, calling people, doing many things. Why? Because afternoon time, predominantly Rajas is taking place. Rajas is there in the nature. And as we move towards the evening, Tamas gets into action. And that is how, because of the Tamoguna, we become now lazy, we are tired and we feel sleepy. All these three gunas are essential. It has its place, but we need to understand how to get rid of these three gunas. We will understand more about these three gunas in the 14th chapter. It's a dedicated chapter for understanding three gunas. So now Krishna is saying, please get out of these three gunas, oh dear Arjuna. And then he's saying, Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Yoga Kshema. Yoga also means sometimes acquiring. See, Sanskrit words have multiple meanings based on the context. I have mentioned this earlier also. Any word you take in the Sanskrit, it is not etched in the dictionary that yoga means only this meaning. No, actually it depends on the context. So here, yoga means acquiring. Yoga means hankering for something that you don't have. And kshema. Kshema means preserving what you already have. So, niryoga kshema atvavan. So, you should get rid of this idea and this mentality of hankering all the time for something that you don't have, and always trying to preserve that which you already have. If you see, most of the activities that we do is basically for these two things. Most of the time, why do you work? You work to acquire things that you don't have, or you work to preserve that which you already have. This is how we define our work most of the time. Carefully analyze these things. Throughout the day, whatever activities you do is basically either to get something new, or you already want to preserve or maintain that which you already have. So this is how Krishna is saying, please get out of these three gunas, my dear Arjuna. That will make you very happy and you will become free from anxiety. So don't worry about these three gunas, is what Krishna is saying. Wonderful. So let's go and understand the next verse, the 46th verse. Lasya, unmute yourself and let's chant this very beautiful verse. Let's understand this next verse. So let me display it on the screen. So verse number 46. Yavanartha udapane sarvatah samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. Wonderful. Once again. Yavanartha udapane sarvatah samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. Wonderful. Please repeat the translation. All purposes that are served by the small pond can at once be served by the great reservoirs of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Thank you, Lasya. So very interesting here, Krishna is giving some examples from the nature. So here Krishna is explaining very interestingly certain examples from nature, and he is telling that how when there is a small pond, the purposes for which a pond is used can be served by a big reservoir of water. In the olden days, I don't know if you have this experience of going and visiting a village. Generally, earlier the villages used to have multiple wells. There used to be a well for drinking, there used to be a well for washing clothes, there used to be a well for washing the animals. So like that, in village there used to be multiple wells, and people used to take water from those wells for those specific works, those specific activities. Now, all these purposes of different wells can actually be satisfied and fulfilled if you have a river next in your place. If you have a river, then the river can actually fulfill all your needs. You don't have to have individual things. How? Because one interesting thing about the river is the river can actually give you fresh water all the time. It is very beautifully said and explained. In English there is a saying. It said that you don't step into the same river twice. You don't step into the same river twice. You know why? Because the water in the river is constantly flowing. So that is a very beautiful saying like that. So actually, what happens is when you have a river, it fulfills all your desires, it fulfills all your needs. If you want to wash your clothes, yes, river is there, river will fulfill that desire. If you want to drink water, yes, river can satisfy because all the time you are going to get fresh water, it's flowing. If you want to wash your animals, fantastic, river will supply water for that as well. So that is how a river can actually fulfill the needs of all the small reservoirs of these different wells. So similarly, Krishna is saying, now Vedas have many wells. There is Ayurveda, which is one well. There is Dhanurveda, which is one well. There is Tapatya Veda, which is another well. So each different fields of science are actually one individual well, and there are so much deep. Each well are very deep, quite deep. See, Ayurveda itself is quite deep. So like that, Vedas are huge. If you want to understand Vedas, one lifetime is not enough. You need to spend many lifetimes to understand Vedas. So now Krishna is saying, the best thing is to know the purpose of the Vedas. Instead of understanding the whole Veda, to understand the purpose of the Veda is most important. Many people, they keep on reading Vedas and they go into specific fields and they get so absorbed in the Vedas, they don't understand the purpose of the Vedas. For example, Ayurveda. There are many Ayurvedic doctors, right? You must have visited some of the Ayurvedic doctors. Now they are also studying Ayurveda, they are also studying the Veda, but unfortunately, you know what? These doctors, they don't understand the purpose of the Vedas. They completely misunderstand the purpose of the Vedas. So what is the use? You see, Bhishma Pitamaha. Bhishma Pitamaha, how many years did he study the Vedas? I have mentioned this earlier. 525 years. That many years he did Vedic studies. He studied Vedas for 525 years. Can you imagine? And that is why he gives beautiful instructions later on. At the point of death, when he was lying on the bed of arrows, he gave Vishnu Sahasranam and many more things to Yudhishthira. So by the way, here Krishna is telling You need to understand the purpose of the Vedas, and that is exactly what we are doing. This Bhagavad Gita, what we are studying, is actually the essence of all the Vedas. We are actually studying the essence of the Vedas. What an amazing thing that we are doing. So, although there are many people who may study a lot of Vedas, but if we all can understand the Bhagavad Gita, then you will understand the purpose of the Vedas. That is so wonderful. That is why you are investing your time in understanding the Vedas. Actually, this is what is the real Vedic study. Understanding Bhagavad Gita in Kali Yuga is the study of the Vedas. That is how it is. Sarvo Punishado Gao Dogda Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatso Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamratam Mahat. What Krishna says, Upanishad says, Shankaracharya has very beautifully said, that Sarvopanishado Gavo, you take all the Vedas, and when you milk all the Vedas and the Upanishads, what you will get? You will get this Bhagavad Gita. Just like when you milk the cow, you will get the essence of the cow is the milk. So similarly, when you milk the Upanishads and the Vedas, you will get Bhagavad Gita. And who is drinking it? Partha. Partha is Arjuna. Arjuna is drinking this milk called Bhagavad Gita, and because of Arjuna, we are also getting this beautiful, very nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. So actually, we are studying the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna is telling this is what is important. So wonderful. Earlier in the previous session, Hina Mataji had asked me that, Prabhu, let us understand, please give a session on Sanatan Dharma. We can definitely do a session on Sanatan Dharma, but at the same time, I want to mention this. All of you should know that this study of the Bhagavad Gita is actually the study of Sanatan Dharma. All the intricacies of Sanatan Dharma is what we are studying in the Bhagavad Gita. So we are already studying Sanatan Dharma. It's very, very nice, very, very important. So Krishna is saying, please understand the essence of the Vedas, and that's exactly what we are doing, and I'm so glad that you're all coming and giving your valuable time to understand the essence of the Vedas. So very nice. So this is what Krishna is saying in this 46th verse, and let's understand what Krishna is going to mention in the next verse. But before that, Krishna is saying in this 46th verse, Brahmanasya Vijanataha. Who is the Brahmana? Brahma Janati iti Brahmanaha. Brahma Janati. Who knows Brahman? One who knows the Brahman is called Brahmana. Not simply one who wears this 5 rupees thread on his shoulders and says, I am a Brahmana. No. Many people do this. Many politicians also, just for some politics, they will wear this 5 rupees thread and they will call themselves as Brahmana. No, that is not a Brahmana. Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. One who knows the Brahman, one who knows the essence of Bhagavad Gita is actually a true Brahmana. And you all, by studying Bhagavad Gita, now you are all becoming Brahmanas. See, wonderful it is. So, we are not Brahmana by birth. We are not Kshatriya by birth. We are Brahmanas by our guna and karma. So, very nice. You are all trying to become Brahmanas by understanding Bhagavad Gita. So, very nice. So, let's go to the next verse now, 47th verse. Krishna is going to explain very, very interestingly, and this is something which is known to most of us, this particular verse, and let's try to chant it. Deepal Mataji, please unmute yourself and try to repeat this shloka after me. Okay? I hope this is visible to you, the shloka. Deepal Mataji, you can unmute yourself. So please repeat after me. Karmannevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur ma te sangastva karmani. Once again, karmannevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana Ma karma phala heturbhur Ma te sangosva karmani. Wonderful. Please repeat the translation. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now this is a very, very interesting and a very famous shloka that most of you must have heard, isn't it? Many people, especially some elderly people in the family members, must be chanting this shloka, Karmanyevadikaraste. This is the most oftenly quoted shloka and the most misinterpreted shloka at the same time. So many devotees and people talk about Karmanyevadikaraste and they just stop at that first line of the shloka. The rest 3 lines, they completely have no idea what Krishna is trying to explain. What people say is Karmanyevadikaraste, work is worship. What they say is, oh, you do your work, you do your karma, and that is worship. You don't have to go and separately worship the Lord in the temple or anywhere else. You do your duty, you do your karma, and that becomes worship. So this is an idea that people have, but they really don't understand the next 3 lines of the shloka. So that is why it becomes extremely important to know what is the meaning and the purport of this particular shloka. Karmanyevadikaraste, karmanya, karma. In this particular shloka, karma refers not just to work or action, it actually refers to prescribed duty. It is not just duty or prescribed, it is not just work, it is prescribed work. So just like Brahmana has a specific work, Kshatriya has a specific work, everybody has their specific work. So Krishna is saying that we also need to do our prescribed duty. As a Brahmana, my prescribed duty is to share knowledge. As an engineer, somebody else has to do his prescribed duty of constructing so many things. Doctor has his prescribed duty of curing patients. So Krishna is saying here, Karmanyevadikaraste, adhikara. You have a right, you have adhikara on your work, on your prescribed work, and we need to do our work, our prescribed work. Complete adhikara is there. Nobody can check. Even Constitution of India or any country cannot check your prescribed duty. Each one of us have a swabhava, and according to the swabhava, we need to do our prescribed duty. But there, Krishna is further explaining, he is saying that you do your work, you have adhikara of your work, but ma phaleshu kadachana. Krishna is saying that you have the ability to do work, adhikara to do work, but you do not have the entitlement for the result of that work. See, what is the motivation for us to do any work? You take anybody, the motivation for us to do work is result. Why we perform work is because we want results. Is there anyone who can tell here, no Prabhu, I will not work, I am not working because I don't want any result, I am just doing it for the sake of doing my work? No. Most of the time, our motivation for work is result. Phala. We want phala. We do karma, but we do karma because there is karma phala. If somebody is going to the office and the manager will say, okay, you please come and work, there is a lot of work, but I am not going to pay you any salary. Will you go and work? Nobody will work. Oh, you will say, please excuse me, and you will find another job, right? So you will not work unless there is salary. Similarly, for the students, oh yes, you can do engineering, you can become an MBBS, but you study all these books, but at the end, we will not provide you any certificate. Will anybody go to such a college where they are not going to provide you a certificate for all the education that you have acquired? No, you will not go to such a college. Because we all are actually working for results. And that is why Krishna is saying here, Ma paleshu kadachana. Does this mean that we should not work for result? We definitely should work and we will work for result, but Krishna is saying, don't be attached to the result. Don't be attached to the results. You work for results, but don't be attached to it. There is a difference. If the cook is there and the cook is saying, no, I don't want to work for the result. He is cooking puris, he is frying the puris, and whether it is nicely fried or it doesn't fry, who cares? I'm just going to put it in the oil and I'm just going to do whatever little bit, and either I will burn it or I will not fry it properly. No. That is not how the cook will work. He is still working for the result to get the nice fluffy puris, but at the same time, he should not be attached to them. What result will come once you put that atta in the oil? What result will come, we don't know. Whether it will fluff nicely, whether it will not fluff, that result is not in our hand. But when you get attached to the results, that is what will result in pain, misery, suffering. See, when the neighbor's child gets good marks, you may become very happy. Oh, it's nice, he has got very good marks. And some people may become even envious. Oh, that neighbor's child has got good marks in the class or something like that. Whether he gets good marks, not good marks, you are not so affected. But if your own child gets good marks, then you will be so elated, you want to make it a big news. And why? Because you are attached to your child. At the same time, if your child doesn't score well, then you are also depressed. Why? Because there is attachment. So, this attachment is what actually makes us happy or distressed. We are not motivated by the work itself. The primary cause for our happiness is not the work, the action itself, but the result. We are hankering for the result all the time. Our focus is not on the work, our focus is on the result. And what was Arjuna doing now? Arjuna's whole focus was on the result. Oh, if I fight, the result will be, I will go to Naraka. If I fight, there will be Varna Sankara, unwanted population. If I fight, then there will be no Pindodaka. You see, the Arjuna's whole mind was focused on only the result. And that is why he was not ready to fight. Many times when we are focused only on the result, what we will do is, we will not perform our duties. We will not perform our actions. That's why Krishna is saying, Ma phaleshu kadachana. Don't be attached to the result. Perform your duties, you have adhikara, but do not be attached to the result. This is the second part, very nice. And then, we also have this tendency to boast about our results. Many times, we perform an action and we boast about it. So that is what is mentioned in the third line of the shloka. Ma karma phala hetur bhu. Ma karma phala hetuhu. Phala hetu means you are thinking that I am the cause of all the work that I am doing. All the cause for the work that I am doing. This is the greatest mistake that we do. We take the ownership of our work. Many times we think that I did this, I did that. I studied so much, I got so much money. I worked hard for it. So anytime we become successful, we do certain activities, we think that I am doing. But the result that you get out of certain action is not dependent only on your actions. So Krishna is explaining here, you are getting a certain result, but the result of your activities is not only dependent on your actions. Let me explain this. Please pay attention, very important. Anytime when you get a result, it depends on three factors. Karma, that is your action. Second, kala. And third is daiva. Karma, kala and daiva. Many times we think only karma I perform and I will get result. No. So karma plus kala plus daiva is equal to phala, result, fruit. Let me explain this with an example. Please pay attention. There is a farmer. The farmer, if he has to get a harvest, first thing he has to do is perform his karma. What is the karma of the farmer? He has to nicely plow the land, he has to till the land nicely, and then he has to sow the seeds. That is the karma of the farmer. But is that sufficient? Just the farmers will perform all the work of plowing the field and sowing the seed. Is that sufficient? No. He has to wait, kala. It's not that today you sow, the farmer will sow the seed today and tomorrow he'll get the harvest. No, he has to wait. There is a waiting time, that is kala. So time factor is extremely important to get result. Now okay, he will wait for 4 months or 5 months to get the harvest, but is that all in all? No, daiva. He also has to be dependent on daiva. What is daiva? Rain. Is rain in our control? The farmer has no control over rain. Does he have any control over the different pests that will come, the rodents and other things that will come and eat away the harvest? He has no control. So even daiva plays an important role. So only when karma is performed, you wait for a certain time, kala, and then there is daiva, the rains are there. With the combination of all these three, karma, kala and daiva, you will get your result. This is how we all get our result. So please do not understand or mistake yourself that only if I perform my actions I will get result. No. You may write the exams very nicely. Lasya is here. She studied very well. She is very intelligent and she writes wonderful answers in the question papers, in the exam. So that is her karma. But results will not be out the next day. She has to wait. So there is time. And then it also depends on daiva, the mentality of the evaluator. If the evaluator has fought with the spouse or he is very hungry, he is so disturbed with all the negative thoughts, he will take her paper and while correcting the paper, he is so upset that although Lasya has written very beautiful, nice answers, because of his mentality, he will cross-check and he will put wrong marks and he will not give the proper marks to Lasya. So you see, so many factors are involved. So karma, kala plus daiva. I hope that doesn't happen with you, Lasya, but I am just giving you an example. So there are many factors. We should not take advantage. We should not think that I am the cause of my actions. If anybody thinks, if you think that I am the owner of my actions and I am the owner of my results, that is going to result in rebirth. Anytime you take the ownership of your results, phala, that means you have to take rebirth. Why we have taken birth now? Because we want to enjoy the results of our actions. I could not enjoy everything in the previous life and I thought I am the owner of my actions and my phala. Alright, so come again, take birth again and again enjoy or suffer. So please do not think that you are the owner of your actions. Keep thinking of the questions. I'm sure a lot of questions will get triggered. So you can keep mentioning in the comment section. Alright. And the fourth line Krishna is saying, Mate sangostu akarmani. Akarma. Akarma means inaction. Krishna is also saying, oh, so what is the use? Krishna, you're telling me to perform action because I have adhikara. But you're telling, don't get attached to the result. You are also saying that I should not be the owner of, do not think that I am the owner and the cause of my work. Then why should I perform action? Let me sit quite aram se. Why at all I should perform any action? Some of you may think that, Prabhu, anyway, why should I study nicely now? Why should I go to the office and do all this work? Why should I be the owner of my... No, Krishna is saying, akarmani, don't get attached to inaction also. So Krishna is saying, you have to perform your duties and you have to perform action. Actually, no one, even our nature is such that, the nature of the soul is such that it is never inactive. Soul is never inactive. The body sleeps, but the soul never sleeps. The soul is always active and wants to do activities. So soul cannot be inactive. Krishna is saying, you better engage in prescribed duties. You identify what is your prescribed duty. You are a housewife, you are a student, you are a professional. Based on your nature and inclination, please perform your prescribed duty. So this is what Krishna is saying here. It's a very, very beautiful and very nice shloka. So please do not misunderstand. This is a very nice shloka. Many people misunderstand and say work is worship. No, work becomes worship only when the work is directed towards Krishna. When our actions are not directed toward Krishna, that work is not worship. That kind of work is not worship. Okay? So that is the meaning of this karmanneva adhikaraste. Very nice shloka. So let's go to the next verse. Again, a very beautiful and interesting shloka. That is the 48th verse. And I see Yuvraj has joined today. Thank you so much, Yuvraj, for joining the group today. Thank you very much. And let me call upon Chaitanya. Chaitanya, please unmute yourself and let's chant the 48th verse now. It's very beautiful. Okay, so please repeat after me. Yogastak kuru karmani Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva Samatvam yoga uchyate. Wonderful. Let's do that once again. Yogastak kuru karmani Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva Samatvam yoga uchyate. Wonderful. Let's do the translation. Be steadfast in yoga. O Arjuna, perform your duty and abandon all attachment to success or failure. Such evenness of mind is called yoga. Very interesting shloka, that is 48th shloka. Yogastak kuru karmani. Very interesting. Krishna is saying here, oh my dear Arjuna, you should not be attached to non-prescribed duty. Many times we do some things, we perform activities and work which is not prescribed. See, we all have certain inclinations. So we need to do work as per our inclinations and our desires. So when we don't do that, then there is problem. When we get attached to something which is not according to our nature, that creates a lot of disturbance in our mind. And we are unable to produce wonderful results. Why? Because we are completely acting against our nature. So Krishna is saying, please don't do any activity which is not in line with your nature. That's wonderful. And then he says, please sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Sangam tyaktva means give up this attitude of doership. Give up this attitude of ownership. So Krishna is saying, when you perform a certain action, when you perform some things, please don't think that I'm the owner. At the same time, he's saying, don't have this mentality of independent nature. I will perform actions and I'm going to get the results. I will not listen to the Shastras, I will not listen to the Guru, I will not listen to any Sadhu Shastra or anybody like that. Whatever comes to my mind, whatever feels good for me, I will do that particular thing. So this is called independent nature. And this is glorified in the modern world. Many people, they glorify, oh, you like this? Just because you like, you do this, no problem. I like certain things, I will do that. No, we should not go by what I like or I dislike. Our action should be based on what is right and what is wrong. Our action should not be based on liking. Because I may like something today, the same thing I may dislike tomorrow. So our action should not be based on liking and disliking. Our action should be based on what is right and what is wrong. So what is right and wrong, we get to know from the Bhagavad Gita. So when you perform actions based on your inclination, and then it is also supported by Shastra, then you will be very, very happy. You are not acting independently. When you act independently, it becomes the cause of misery. When a soldier acts as per the direction of the government, then absolutely no problem. When a soldier acts as per the direction of the government and the defense minister, he is not bound, he is very free and he can kill as many people as he wants, all the terrorists. But the same soldier, if he acts independently, then he is also bound by the constitutional laws. He has to enjoy or suffer based according to that. So that is why when we perform actions and they are authorized by Sadhu Shastra, then we will not develop that ownership mentality and we will not act independently. We should not act independently actually. Even now also we may think that I am acting independently, but it is not. Many times our actions are driven by the media. Our actions are driven by the advertisements. Our actions are driven by the thoughts of our spouses. Sometimes our actions are also driven by our own children. So many times we may think that we are independent, but we are actually not independent. We are forced by so many external factors. So Krishna is saying, instead of getting forced by so many other factors, external factors, why don't you get influenced by the Shastra, the Bhagavad Gita and direct your actions? It's so wonderful, isn't it? So Krishna is saying that we are not supposed to be like that. And Krishna is saying that Siddhya asiddhyo samo bhutva, whether it is victory or defeat, whether you gain something or there is loss, samo bhutva, don't get attached. Many children these days, they don't want to write an exam because they are afraid of the result. Oh, what will happen? What will happen to the result? No, whether victory or loss, perform your duty. Just perform your action. That's extremely important. And samo bhutva, equanimity, is the foundation for spiritual growth. My dear listeners, I'll tell you, devotees, if you want to grow spiritually, developing a mentality of equanimity is extremely important. Samo bhutva. I'll tell you a very nice story. There was a very nice merchant in one of the Arabian nations, and this merchant had very beautiful and strong, high quality horses of very high breed. He had 6 of them, and this merchant had also a very nice young son, and this son used to generally take these horses every day for grazing. They had a wonderful field. Now when the horses used to go out, one day it so happened that the son was busy doing something, and all these 6 horses were grazing and they suddenly vanished somewhere, and this person could not find any of these horses. He was disappointed. He was going around searching for the horses. Whole day he searched for these horses and he did not find any of these horses. And then he came back with a face down and he was disappointed, and he told his father what had happened. And then all the villagers also got to know about it, and all the villagers came to their house and they all started telling this merchant, "Oh, so sad of you. You lost all the wonderful 6 horses that you had. So bad, so bad." And this merchant, he said one thing, just one sentence. He said one thing to all these villagers, and that sentence is, "Good or bad, who knows?" The villagers said, "What? It's definitely bad. You lost your horses." Anyway, they just left him and they went away. After 6 months, it so happened that the 6 horses which had gone, they came back, but this time they bought 6 more horses of the same high quality breed, and now they had 12 horses. Oh, it was so wonderful and a joyous moment. And all the villagers got to know, and they all came to this merchant's house, and then they said, "Oh, you're so wonderful, you're so lucky that you have now 12 horses." And this merchant, he again made the same statement, "Good or bad, who knows?" Now these villagers are thinking, "Oh, what crazy, what is he saying? He should be happy, but instead he is making this statement, good or bad, who knows?" Few days passes by, then what happens is this young son of the merchant is actually trying to train these wild horses, because some of them were new, they were not well trained. So this training of the horses is actually called breaking the horse. In the olden terms, in the Western world, when they get a new horse from the forest, they call breaking the horse. Breaking the horse means to train the horse. So this young son was trying to break the horse, and while doing so, this horse became so wild and threw the son, and this son fell on a hard stone, on a rock, and he actually broke his leg very severely. And when he was taken to the doctor said it is a very bad injury and his leg has to be amputated. So it was a very, very sad situation for him now, and all the villagers again got the news, and then the villagers come and explain and start telling, "Oh, such a bad news. My dear merchant, you lost your son, in the sense you lost the son's leg. So sad, so sad." And you know what the merchant said this time? The same sentence. Good or bad, who knows? Now these villagers were crazy. Oh man, this man is really crazy. Few days passed by, it so happened that there was a sudden announcement made by the king, and the king said, all the youngsters should join the army because they are fighting enemy and the king wants more soldiers. So all the youngsters have to join the army. So all the young boys from the village were a part of the king's army, and it so happened that none of the young boys returned back home to the same village because everyone got killed in the fight. And all the villagers now, they again went to this merchant and said, "See, we lost all our sons. At least you are so lucky. Although your son's leg is being amputated, but you still have your son. But we have lost your son." And what did the merchant say now? Good or bad, who knows? So what I am trying to convey here is, many times the situations of life will be ups and downs. There will be nice joyous moments, there will be some low moments in life. But a person who knows how to be equipoised in all these situations, siddhi, asiddhi, gain or loss, that person is very dear to Krishna. That is yoga. Yoga can be performed only when you are equipoised. When you are not equipoised, you will never be happy. Please understand. And that is how all our karma, Krishna is saying, yes, Samatvam yogam uchyate. Samatvam. Yoga can be performed only when you are sama. Very, very interesting. I want to mention this very important story and pastime. Looks like I have mentioned this earlier also, but I just want to repeat. You know, when the whole Mahabharata fight, Kurukshetra war was done, after the Kurukshetra war, all the Kauravas were killed, the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra were killed, and then it so happened that Krishna, Bhima, the Pandavas, everybody returned to Hastinapura, and then Dhritarashtra was lamenting, and he told Krishna, Krishna, you are Bhagavan, you are the Supreme Lord, could you not save one son, just one son of mine? How could you allow all my sons to die? Then Krishna very beautifully explains, Dhritarashtra, you know, 50 lifetimes, not 50 years, 50 lifetimes before this life, you were a hunter. And as a hunter, you had killed the 100 chicks of two birds, two parent birds. You killed them in front of the birds, the parent birds. And because you killed all the 100 chicks, that is why you lost all the 100 sons. Dhritarashtra was bewildered. He was thinking, oh my God, this is the karma, this is my own karma that I had to lose. But my dear Krishna, I understand, I lost all my 100 sons. But why did I have to wait for 50 lifetimes to get the reaction of my action which I had performed so long time back? Then Krishna says, all the 50 lifetimes, you were acquiring punya to get 100 sons. Now you got punya, sufficient karma to get 100 sons, and you lost all the 100 sons at one shot. So this is karmana gahano gatihi. Karma is extremely complicated. At what time, what reaction is coming and hitting us, we don't know. That is why many times ups and downs will happen in life. Our own karma will come and hit us. We need to be samatva. Always be equipoised. Samatvam yogamuchyate. Gain or loss, please do not worry, because gain or loss is in Krishna's hand. Devotee, we as devotees also, we perform actions. But when we perform actions, we do not get attached to the result. Krishna will take care of the result. When you are performing for the actions for the pleasure of Krishna, then Krishna will take care of the results also. When you get attached to the results, then there is a problem. But you perform only actions for the pleasure of Krishna, for the satisfaction of the Lord, then results will come. Krishna will provide results to you according to your karma that you have performed. Krishna will give wonderful results. But don't be attached to the results. Perform your actions. Samatvam, be equipoised. Learn how to be equipoised. It is a practice that we need to do. Extremely important. And that practice comes in the association of devotees. Only when we come together like this, when we discuss these topics, we are at least aware that yes, we need to perform such actions like this. Otherwise, nobody will tell us what is right and wrong. Okay? So, this is how we need to understand. So, Krishna is saying here, Siddhya Siddhya Samo Bhutva. Just like when the child it goes to the beach, and since most of you are in Mumbai, you have been to the beach, and the children there in the beach, they will build the castles, the sand castles. And suddenly one big wave will come and it will wipe away the whole castle. And the child will cry, oh, I lost my castle. And he will be so disturbed. And the parents will go and try to console the child. My dear child, it's okay. You can build another one. Don't worry. But the child keeps on crying. So just like the child, we also, so-called adults, we are also building castles. I will build this castle here. I will build this particular house. I will get this job and that job. We are all trying to build different castles. And one day, the wave of time will come and wash away everything that we have created. So that is why we need to be samatva. Yoga muchyate. Don't get disturbed by the results. Just like we try to laugh at the children sometimes, when the children are crying because they lost the castle, the Lord is also laughing at us. When we cry at someone or something that we lose of our own, Krishna is also laughing at us. Oh, this person is thinking that he had done this. No, he has not done. I did it. So Krishna is the ultimate doer. So very nicely, we have discussed this 48th sloka also. I think it's time for some questions. Let me take some questions before we go to the next verse. So, Prabhuji, what is the ideal way to start the day? Okay, so Dev Chandan is asking, the ideal way is when you wake up, first thing is you close your eyes. When you wake up from the bed, ideally you should wake up from the right side. When you wake up from the bed, you should wake up from the right side. That is good. Do not wake up directly. It will hurt your stomach also. So don't directly wake up straight. When you wake up, you should wake up from the right side. That is nice. And moment you wake up, maybe you can rub your palms a little bit like this and just pray Hare Krishna 3 times. You touch your eyes. It gives you some strength. And then thank the Lord for giving you another fresh day. Because it's only Lord Krishna sitting in the heart who wakes you up. If he doesn't ring the alarm bell inside the heart, we will never wake up. It is only Krishna who wakes us up every single day. Thank him for that, for giving us another new day. And then when you step outside the bed, you step outside the cot, you can also, if you have a Krishna's painting, you can pay obeisances right there. It's very important. You can pay obeisances. Then you can fresh yourself, and even if you don't take bath, you can chant Hare Krishna mantra. Even if you don't take bath, you can chant Hare Krishna mantra. So begin your day with chanting Hare Krishna mantra. That's amazing way to start your day. And moment you finish your prescribed rounds, suppose you have taken a vow that yes, I want to finish 108 times Hare Krishna mantra. Morning when you finish that 108, there is a sense of achievement. Yes, I completed my chanting today. When you get that sense of achievement, all the activities that you do throughout the day, you will have the sense of satisfaction and achievement. So start your day with a sense of achievement. Yes, I did my activity today. So that is how we need to start the day. Okay, so Dev has asked this, and then Yuvraj is asking, thank you Prabhuji for letting me join in. Pleasure. Okay, wonderful. Thank you Yuvraj for joining today. And they were saying, how do we remove our detachment from our result? Very good question. See, when you do your actions for the satisfaction and the pleasure of Krishna, then you know that your primary goal of action is not result per se, but your primary motivation to perform action is I am satisfying the Lord. I am satisfying Krishna. That is the primary motivation. And with that primary motivation when you work, you will never get attached to the results. Because you know now, I am doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. Krishna gives me whatever result it is in his hand. It is his headache. You should do activities for the pleasure of Krishna. You should not be worried about the result. Krishna's headache it is to give you result. When you perform action for the pleasure of Krishna, Krishna is indebted. He feels indebted. Oh, Dev or Hina Mataji, Lasya, Deepal Mataji, Vinodji, Yuvraj, you are doing activities for my pleasure. Krishna will feel indebted. See, when somebody comes and does some good thing for us, they will come and help us. Don't you feel indebted to them? You were in pain. Just somebody suppose you are riding a bike and you accidentally fall down. Somebody comes and helps you, and maybe even sometimes they come and they come and drop you till the home. Don't you feel indebted to them? Oh, such a nice person, he came and helped me. Thank you so much. We feel so much of gratitude towards them. So Krishna is a highly sensitive person. When you do little bit for Krishna, oh my God, he says that he is doing so much for me. Krishna feels indebted, and it is his duty to give you result. He will give us back. So even your studies, for students, when you are doing your studies, my Lord, I am studying it because I want to use this knowledge in your service. That is how I studied. When I was doing my engineering, when I was studying, before I start my studies, I used to pray to Krishna. Krishna, I am learning this, although it is material knowledge, I am learning this so that I get this knowledge, I will acquire this knowledge, and I will use this knowledge in your service in the future. And it is so helpful today. I have a engineering degree, And whatever engineering knowledge that I am using it in the Krishna service today. So that is becoming yoga. So when you do that, then Krishna will give you the ultimate result. For housewives, when they are cooking, my Lord, we are not doing this cooking for our own sense gratification, but it is for your pleasure. When you do this, Krishna is pleased. Then he will purify our heart. You will never be attached to the result. So that is how we need to get detached from our result by giving pleasure to Krishna. Very nice. So Shrikant is asking, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, every day we get the thought of people misunderstanding us based on our actions. How to control it? Yes, absolutely, because the perceptions of people are different. Many people have different perceptions, and we cannot control the perceptions of people, all the people. Not possible. So don't even try to control that. What we can do is, we can actually mold ourselves. We should not perform actions for the pleasure of people, because people will never be satisfied. No matter whether it is your own parent or a child, you cannot satisfy everyone all the time. If you are thinking that I will please all the people all the time, you will be frustrated. If you don't want to be frustrated, don't try to please everyone all the time. Sometimes you can please them, not all the time. So, but all the time you can please Krishna. So that is easy. Pleasing Krishna is easier than pleasing people. So when you perform actions for the pleasure of Krishna, then it really doesn't bother you what people think. It really doesn't matter. Whether they like your actions or they don't like your action, it doesn't matter, because Krishna is pleased by your actions. The devotees are pleased by your actions. That is your satisfaction. Now because you want some result, people should glorify you, people should nicely talk about you, because you are expecting some result from the people, that makes you difficult, that makes you upset. But if you think that yes, I am working and I will expect result only for Krishna and from Krishna, you will never be dissatisfied. You will never be dissatisfied. That is how we need to work. Okay? So don't try to control people. That is not important. So Chaitanya is asking, Prabhu, most of the devotees, bhaktas, dedicate their own lives towards Supreme Lord with a desire to attain moksha. Is attaining moksha can be considered a desire for devotees? Love towards God to attain moksha is even right? Okay, wonderful, very nice. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These are the four purusharthas. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha are the four purusharthas of human life. So now what we need to know is, should we act to gain moksha, or should we act for pleasure of Krishna out of love? It is said in the Shastras that if you become a devotee and when you perform actions for the pleasure of Krishna, moksha, liberation, will stand at your door. She is waiting at the door to give you moksha. When you become devotee, when we become devotees, liberation herself, Moksha Devi, she is waiting at your doorstep to take you to Krishna. So moksha is a byproduct of love of Krishna. When you start loving Krishna, moksha is a byproduct. You will automatically get moksha. So don't worry about moksha, because it will be given to you when you understand Krishna and when you act for the pleasure of Krishna, for the Supreme Lord. So that is why I always tell and stress upon this very important point. Our understanding of Bhagavad Gita is to develop a relationship with Krishna. We are not studying Bhagavad Gita just for some philosophical understanding, but we are understanding Bhagavad Gita because we want to develop a relationship. What kind of relationship with Krishna? A loving relationship with Krishna. So we are not dry sentimentalists or dry philosophers. We want to develop a relationship, a loving relationship with Krishna. And when you do that, when we have this wonderful person in our life, this Supreme Lord, Krishna, when you start interacting with Him, when you start understanding His desire, when you start understanding what He likes and He dislikes, It is so amazing. He will give you so much pleasure. So, by giving enjoyment to Krishna, we become enjoyers. Very simple formula. Give enjoyment to Krishna and you will enjoy your life. It is as simple as that. So, these are few questions, wonderful questions today, and I see that the level of questions are also now becoming deeper and deeper. I see that you are all getting it philosophically, and I really appreciate the way you are asking questions. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So, we'll meet you again next Sunday. Please take care and be safe and keep chanting. Take care. Hare Krishna.